Miss Stacy's Kitchen, baking bread.
Hi kids, it's Miss Stacy. In this video, I'm going to bake bread. Here's the recipe I'm using. Country crust bread. I like to make it in my mixer. That recipe is a little too big for my mixer, so I'm going to make a half-sized recipe. This is yeast. Yeast is stuff that makes bread dough have bubbles in it, so that after it bakes, it has small holes in it. And you might see that when you're eating bread. The yeast is gonna get bubbly if I put it in some water with a little bit of sugar, because yeast eats the sugar and that's when it gets bubbly. So let's watch it do that. I'm going to put it in 1 cup of water, 1 cup, 2.5 teaspoons. 1, 2.5. I'm going to put some sugar in there. The yeast needs sugar to eat. Sugar in the yeast water, and I'm going to mix it all up. And you're going to see foam start to bubble up in this part of the cup. We can watch it on fast forward. Here we go. Did you see the foam that it made? Now I'm going to put it in my mixing bowl. Here we go. Okay, next I'm going to add 1/4 cup of sugar. 1/4 is a half of a half. It's my 1/4 cup of sugar. 1/2 of a tablespoon of salt. 1 egg. I'm cutting this recipe in half, and I'm supposed to have 1/4 cup of oil. So half of 1/4 is 1/8, but I don't have a cup for 1/8, so I'm gonna have to look and see when I've got about half. There, that looks like 1/2 of the 1/4 cup. Before I put in the flour, I'm going to mix it with, this is the same beater that I use for cookies and all kinds of stuff in my mixer. But after I add the flour, I'm going to use this. It's a dough hook. It's very good for mixing bread dough. Start with 1.5 cups of the flour. 1 cup. 1/2 cup. And the dough hook. Let's have a look inside the bowl. I'll give it a scrape, make sure I mix all that flour in. I had to put more flour. It definitely needed more flour. Let's watch it on fast forward. Okay, the dough is all mixed. It's very sticky stuff. Now it's time to make it, set it aside to rise. It's going to rise inside this bowl. Before I put it in there, I have to grease the bowl. I'm going to put this shortening, which is solid fat, a little bit of it on this paper towel, and rub it all over the inside of the bowl so that the bread dough doesn't stick to the bowl. There. Ooh, so let's scrape this off the dough hook. People who don't have a mixer can mix the dough with their hands. It takes a long time, and you have to have strong arms and strong hands, but I've done it like that, and it is fun to do. Here's the bread dough inside my mixer bowl. I gotta scrape it. It's gonna be one big lump. The ball of dough has grease from the bowl touching its bottom. Now I'm just going to plop it upside down. so that it gets grease on all its sides. There. I'm going to cover it up with clear plastic so that we can see through the plastic. I'm going to film it on fast forward so we can watch it run. The dough rose. It got bigger. I'm going to put it on this cutting board with some flour and shape it into loaves. So I'm putting some flour on my board. And I'm going to take the whole mass of bread dough out of the bowl. It's pretty sticky, so it needs a little flour, more flour on my hands. And I'm going to squeeze it in the middle so that it's in 2 pieces. I prepared these loaf pans by greasing them, just like I greased that bowl. So there's the dough inside the loaf pan. This dough inside this loaf pan. Looks a little funny. I'm gonna cover these up with the plastic wrap and let them rise again. So let's watch that on fast forward again. Okay. The loaves are risen. Now this is oil, and I'm going to brush it over the tops of the loaves. And now I'm going to put them in the oven to bake for 35 minutes. I'm taking the bread out. Oh, it looks good. I thought it was too brown, but now that I look at it, it looks perfect. Looks yummy. Here's a loaf of bread, and I'm going to slice it with a sharp knife. Thanks for watching this video. Goodbye.